Today I'm reviewing the Dell XPS 13 Plus 9320. This is the maxed out version of this laptop, and the reason that I'm testing this out, even though I'm primarily a Mac user, I recently switched over to Microsoft 365 from Google Workspace. I wanted to experience a little bit more of a more integrated Microsoft experience with Microsoft 11, which I really like. Microsoft 11 is great, with Microsoft 365 being the platform that I'm using for email and all the different software that comes with. I wanted to have more of a Windows experience to see if maybe that was something for me. I purchased the 13-inch XPS because I've had XPS 15s in the past, and I found that for true laptop use, like lounging around using your laptop, which is what I would want to use a laptop for, a 13-inch laptop is what I need. A larger laptop becomes a little bit cumbersome. I have a 16-inch MacBook Pro. I've had XPS 15s in the past, another 15, and they're just too big to be laptops. I end up using them as a desktop connected to an external monitor, which is fine. That's definitely a great use for a laptop, but I thought I'll give the 13 a try as the processors have just gotten so powerful. Even the graphics have gotten really good on these processors that they put in the smaller laptops. Upon initial unboxing and firing up of this laptop, I was just impressed with the sleek design. I mean, if you look at this laptop, it's just very clean and sleek. The XPS line has had minimal bezels around the display, and they've been known for their beautiful displays. This keyboard layout here, everything is just very sleek and flat. And I thought, I don't know what to think about this initially, but I really like typing on this keyboard. It feels great, even though everything is so flat. Sometimes have to pay attention to where you're at. It's a really nice keyboard, and key travel is really great. However, the very top function bar, they're not buttons, they're just touch panels. And I feel like Apple learned their lesson with the touch bar and the fact that it was just kind of weird touching a interface that doesn't have any tactile feedback. And the Dell XPS 13 here has that same type of interface up here, albeit not glass. You essentially tap on a button that doesn't move, it's just a interface here, and I don't really like that. I like having a button. I like being able to tap the delete button and have it press in a little bit. I might not tap it all the way in the center of the letters and it doesn't work, and it's just easier to have a button to push down. I'm not in love with the top bar. It also is very hard to use when the backlighting goes dim or when the backlighting goes off, which sometimes happens depending on your environment. Of course, I can change my backlighting here by tapping the key button and changing the brightness and all that stuff, but I just prefer to have buttons. If that's not you, then fine. You probably won't be bothered by it, but for me, I wish that those were actual buttons up there. Overall, the keyboard is great. Another thing was the fact that the trackpad doesn't have any clearly defined lines, and that even confused my kids. They were looking at it and they said, oh, it doesn't have a trackpad, or whoa, the whole thing is a trackpad? No, out here, nothing happens when you tap out here, but there does become some area right in around here and here. So about that width is your trackpad. It's a little bit wider than the spacebar and a little bit shifted over from the right of the spacebar a little bit. And the trackpad's great. It's very responsive. It's got, a good click to it. For me, being that I come from a Mac background, I disable tap. I don't like being able to just tap or just rest my finger there and have it recognize as a click. I like being able to press down all the way because otherwise I'm accidentally clicking and dragging things all over the place. So keyboard, trackpad, very nice with the exception of the digital top bar of function row of keys. The display, still absolutely beautiful. Dell puts the best displays in their XPS. I'm a photographer and I love taking photos and using those as my backdrops. I can't really give you a good example on screen here, but it's just a beautiful display. This glossy display, this is the 4K touch display, and so I can touch the screen. That's kind of nice, even though this is not a convertible laptop that converts all the way around so that I can use it in more of a tablet mode. Having touch is nice because some interfaces are just easier just to tap and drag. And I don't typically use tap or touch on a laptop, but it's nice having it as a feature. Utilizing that on this this computer for something like a little slider or whatever, or scrolling up a page rather than using the trackpad. It's a nice feature to have. It's not a necessity, but I'm glad that it has it. So Windows 11 on this laptop obviously is great. This is the maxed out version that has the best processor that they put in this device, the most RAM, the most hard drive space. This is plenty for me for what I would be utilizing this laptop for. I typically would not be using this laptop for heavier lifting like big video editing projects or big photo editing projects. However, I did get into this laptop using Adobe Premiere to kind of compare how it would work to the MacBook Pro that I'm using. The MacBook Pro that I'm using is the M1 Max, and that's a spec'd out laptop, so it is going to have a lot more performance than this, but Adobe Premiere is very usable on a laptop like this with small to moderate sized projects. Rendering is not too terribly bad so long as you're plugged in to power. Editing photos in Adobe Lightroom, I primarily utilize Adobe Lightroom CC, which is the cloud option, and it works very well on this laptop. Rendering out of images, I didn't notice it taking much more time than if I was on my MacBook Pro. So performance is great on this laptop. As far as web browsing, email, all of those basic tasks, this is going to be overkill as far as performance for most of that stuff. But having a laptop like this, you know that you're going to have that extended performance for doing some heavier lifting as you might need to when you install software that requires it. So let's walk around this device a little bit and take a look. The Dell XPS is very clean and sleek. You can see it's picked up some fingerprints. It is a little bit of a fingerprint magnet, but it's not too terrible. On the backside, very clean, minimal branding. We've got kind of a rubber skid on the top and the bottom here, and we've got ports around the back and the sides for airflow. Now, on the sides of this device, we have one USB Type-C port on this side, which supports charging as well. And then we have another one over on this side. And these are high speed, very nice ports, but those are the only ports that you're going to get on the entire device. You're not going to get an SD card slot or anything like that. And the power brick is not too large. It handles charging this laptop very well and very quick. It utilizes one of the USB-C ports. So charging your device is going to leave you with one port left over, unless you have some sort of a hub that you can use that breaks out and gives you additional ports as well as charging pass-through. So one of the features that I do love about this laptop is being able to unlock it with Windows Hello. It simply scans your face and then you're able to unlock the device without doing anything, putting in any passwords. Of course, you do have password options as a backup, but there is no fingerprint reader on this device. Back in the day, the XPS line used to have the webcam down below. I'm glad that they no longer do that anymore. The webcam is up top in what seems like a little notch, but actually the bezel doesn't go up into the notch, so you're not losing any screen real estate there with the notch, but the webcam is up top, and the webcam is not very good. So as I said, I've had multiple XPS devices in the past over probably the last decade, if not a little bit longer, and I've always been impressed by the devices. One of the things that always sends me back to the Mac is the ecosystem that Apple has within their products. But when I'm utilizing an Android phone and maybe even a Kindle or something rather than an iPad or an Android tablet, I'm not fully in that ecosystem. And I find devices like this Dell XPS 13 Plus to be an absolute joy to use because the screen is absolutely beautiful. It's a very sleek design, a very clean laptop that's just pleasing to the eye. It has the performance that I need to handle the majority of the tasks that I have on a day-to-day basis. And overall, it's just a beauty to use. I love the XPS line of laptops and will continue to dabble in them over the years until Microsoft becomes something that pulls me away from Apple. And that's probably only going to require a better ecosystem as far as products go. Right now, there are things that kind of hold me over in the Apple camp, like utilizing my iPad for ForeFlight because I have my pilot's license and liking to have the messages sync between all of my devices. As soon as there's something like that within Microsoft and those things are no longer required to be on iOS or on the Mac ecosystem, I'm all in on devices like the Dell XPS 13 or the 15. They're beautiful devices, they're well made, and they just continue to get better and better each iteration. So if you're looking for a higher end Windows laptop, then this is probably your best option. The Dell XPS 13 Plus gives you all of the premium features that you would desire in a nice laptop, with the display, the sleek keyboard design, decent battery life, and excellent performance. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want updates, and make sure to head over to our website to check out some of our free courses that teach photography, web design, and small business. Hope to see you back in another video soon. Take care.